So I've had a pair of scops owls calling literally right by our villa. I had another bird calling further down the road, so definitely a pair. But I think it's going to take some work to try and locate that, unfortunately. So as you can see, that's the gate of our villa, and the scops owl is calling literally in the tree on the other side of our gate. So over the next couple of nights I will be trying to track that down. I've got African scops owl, but I still need Eurasian scops owl for my life list. So out of all the birds I've seen in Ibiza, this will be the best one. Okay, I've just come back down early morning to try and find where these scops owls are roosting. I'm back down where they were last night. They were just in this area behind me here, just down the bottom here at the end of the road. Unfortunately, it is the most wooded area of the farmstead. I'll just spin you around. I have used a little bit of playback just to try and fine-tune where they are exactly. Obviously, it's morning, so they're going to stop replying, but they have replied. So I know they're down here somewhere. So what I'm going to do... Sorry, I thought that was one. It's just a little blackbird. What I'm going to do over the next coming days, I may get up a little bit earlier. It's 6:30. I may get up at 6 or even 5:45, just to have a bit of more time in the dark with them. Because of course, trying to find a scops owl in the wood is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Yeah, but at least I know the general area they are in. And this morning what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bird the local farmstead that we're staying at. It's the beautiful old 400-year-old finca, which is a word for farmstead or farm. But I'll tell you what, if I can find these scops owls, be a lifer. The Balearic Islands are a group of Mediterranean islands belonging to Spain, located off the eastern coast of the Iberian Peninsula. Geographically, they form an archipelago located in the western Mediterranean, about 80 kilometers off mainland Spain. Ibiza, along with Formentera, Mallorca and Menorca, form the island chain. Ibiza, at roughly 570 square kilometers, is the third largest island in the group, and along with its 210-kilometer long coastline, enjoys a typically Mediterranean climate, characterized by hot dry summers and mild wetter winters. This climate supports a mixture of Mediterranean vegetation, including pine forests, olive groves and scrubland, which has long made the region attractive for agriculture and tourism alike. The surrounding marine areas are rich in biodiversity, especially the oceanic seagrass meadows, which are crucial for maintaining coastal ecosystems. In part 1, we visited the jewel in Ibiza's birding crown, Ses Salines National Park, and then moved to the highest point on Ibiza, Satalea, in part 2. In part 3, we moved roughly 9 kilometers east of Ibiza town, where we spend the remainder of our time birding around the small beachside town of Llonga. Staying at a beautiful 400-year-old finca, we used Llonga as our base for about 8 days, as we explored the surrounding area and further afield on the island. We knew the area quite well, as this was our second time staying here, having stayed close by 10 years previously. It's a combination of coastal resort village, pine-covered hills and flat open rural small holdings, bordered by coastal cliffs in the south, the Ibiza golf course in the west and the beach in the east.
Just got some more spotted flycatchers hunting on the fence line here, and in this field there are 5 stone curlews, just all in the back there.
Strangely enough, on this trip I really struggled to find stone curlew while driving around to our various tourist stops. Normally as you drive around the island you'll pick up these birds as you go and don't really need to try for them. So I was happy to have these 5 or 6 birds every morning on my walk around. Most mornings they'd be right up close in but were very flighty. Even if I tried to sneak up undetected, they'd still notice me and move away as far as they could.
It's funny how birding works. I've been driving all over the island looking for stone curlews as we drive, and literally seen 2 all holiday, and 5 minutes walk from our farmstead, homestead kind of thing. There's 5 in this field right in front of us. So I'll wait for all the sun to come up a bit and I'll come back and have a look at this. When I arrived, they were initially in this field right in front of us here. So, and of course they've moved away as I approached. Not seen them straight away. Perfect habitat. Dry, sandy, rocky soil. I'll leave them now and come back a bit later. Hopefully they would have moved closer and I'll sneak in rather than just blunder in like I just did. This little area's been pretty productive actually. I've had a Chetty's warbler now in here and a chiff-chaff in here. I've just been looking at the stone curlews in that field, but there appears to be like a farm little dam behind here. And the only hole I can see is here, so I'm just going to quickly have a quick look in here. I've just come from the stone curlews that were around there, and I've just snuck up to this reservoir here, and I've just got a pair of little grebe right in front of me. They know I'm here, but they're not quite sure what I am. So they haven't moved away, they've just been sat there for a bit.
Little grebe, also known as dab chicks, are relatively scarce on the island due to a lack of suitable habitat for them, especially in the hot, dry summer months. Worldwide, they're made up of 7 subspecies, 4 of which are widespread and 3 have restricted ranges. They are separated principally by size and eye color, which varies from dark to light from west to east, and the extent of white on the secondary feathers of the wing, which varies from none in the temperate northern regions to extensive white in tropical regions. This bird breeds in small, heavily vegetated areas of freshwater lakes across Europe, much of Asia and down into New Guinea and most of Africa. Most birds move to open coastal waters in winter, but it's only migratory in those parts of the terrains where water freezes. Outside of the breeding season, it moves to more open water, occasionally even appearing on coastal small bays. The little grebe is an excellent swimmer and diver and pursues its fish and aquatic invertebrate prey underwater. It uses the vegetation skillfully as a hiding place. Like all grebes, it nests at the water's edge. Since its legs are set very far back, it cannot walk well. Usually 4 to 7 eggs are laid. When the adult bird leaves the nest, it usually takes care to cover the eggs with weeds. This makes it less likely to be detected by predators. The young leave the nest and can swim soon after hatching. The chicks are often carried on the backs of the swimming adults. Obviously, in a water-scarce environment, water means life, and here on the Balearics, depredoras or sewage treatment plants are a lifeline to a lot of aquatic animals and bird life. as they maintain a year-round water source, attracting a wide range of wildlife. Sitting in this little sheltered spot for a bit, I just enjoyed the comings and goings as various birds used the surrounding vegetation to hunt from, and a bunch of birds also came down to drink, unaware I was hiding behind this low wall, including this very wary European turtle dove, whose nerves got the better of it and flew off.
Okay, this little farm dam has been quite productive. I've had mallard, moorhen, little grebe, common sand, European turtle dove, Sardinian warbler. Yeah, and I've had several parties of little grebe as well, which is quite nice. And they all don't know I'm here because I'm literally stuck away in a little hole on the one side.
Including this oblivious common sandpiper that walked right past me, quite content in the thought that it was on its own. Common sandpipers have a huge distribution across most of Europe and Asia and migrates to Africa, Southern Asia and Australia in the winter. The common sandpiper is usually encountered alone, but will occasionally form small groups, although larger flocks are sometimes formed around migration or at breeding season or roosts. It seldom joins multi-species flocks and has a distinctive stiff-winged flight low over the water. It has a distinctive white gap between the neck and the top of the wing, and often stands slightly crouched or leaning forward as it bobs its tail.
Okay, the sun has finally poked its head up above that hill in the background. And I'm just working the perimeter of this dam. Spotted flycatchers. Slightly better view in, but against the sun. Obviously where you have water, especially in the mid, you have life. It's always good to hang around and have a look what's what. Path up there, I'll carry on this way. Spotted flycatcher on this branch here. Around there. I've just come around the corner here from the dam, and in these trees I've had a whole bunch of spotted flycatchers, about 3 or 4 European turtle doves and a single crossbill. More spotted flycatchers across the road, sitting on the telephone post there, or on the telephone wire. About there. Not sure if you can hear this, but I've had wood pigeon, turtle dove, collared dove all calling from in here, Sardinian warbler in here somewhere.
Nightingale. Nightingale first for the trip. This area's been quite productive actually. My first nightingale on Ibiza, although I've had plenty on Mallorca. This bird is best known for its powerful and beautiful song. The song of the male has been described as one of the most beautiful sounds in nature, and most people are unaware that female nightingales don't sing. Nightingales are so named because they, and I mean mostly unpaired males, frequently sing at night as well as during the day. Genetic analysis shows they are in fact a type of flycatcher with a resemblance to thrushes, being the result of convergent evolution. They're made up of 3 subspecies and is a migratory insectivore, breeding in forest and scrubland in Europe and the Palearctic, and wintering in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay, I'm just going to see if I can get closer to this nightingale. It's in that tree there. Okay, more turtle doves there. Unfortunately, the nightingale was in this tree and then flew in that tree and then down there somewhere. That's Llonga in the background there, our local beach. And this little farmland area is very productive. So that's a handful of triptychs for me so far this morning. So I'm doing very well in this sort of like farmland rough habitat. There's actually a turtle dove in here, just flown in. Let's see if I can sneak up to it. There's lots of turtle dove in this area. There's another one sitting on the wires there. There's a whole bunch of house sparrows feeding off these figs. Another European turtle dove. More house sparrows. Linnet over. There's an amazing fragrance in the air here. I don't know what it is, but I'm walking through sort of very nectar-rich scent. Sardinian. Sardinian warbler. Sitting still for once.
Thankfully it's been a little bit overcast this morning, because when the sun comes out it gets hot really, really quickly. So just going to wander a little bit further down here, check out these fields, and then I'll turn around. That would be perfect for hoopoe. They love this sort of green agricultural boundaries. The area we're in is sort of like larger estates, small holdings kind of places. Look at the size of that beast. Beautiful open country. Of course, Ibiza can get crazy, but we like to stay out of it in the quieter areas. I'm surprised I haven't had Zitting testicular in this rough sort of pasture land that's been left to go rough. I can't believe it. I've actually got a Zitting testicular. Just clip the mic on. Oh, it's flying away. Okay, I will get this for you. It's a little bit far. It's out on the side. It's more or less in the middle of that field there. I just heard a single call, because this is private property, you can't get in there. It's actually sitting up there. There's no way you'll see this on the DJI.
This site would prove to be an excellent spot for Zitting testiculars, but only for one day, with about 10 birds in these fields on either side of the road. Weirdly, the next day they had all cleared out bar 1 or 2 birds, so I guess they were all just moving through. Also known as streaked fantail warbler, they occur across Europe, southern Asia and down into northern Australia and most of sub-Saharan Africa. It's a tiny bird found mainly in grassland, giving themselves away by their zigzagging flight displays and zitting calls. In the non-breeding season they tend to skulk within the grass and can be hard to spot. Fairly common across the Balearics in the right habitat, the male builds the initial nest structure deep in grasses and invites females in using a special display. Females that accept the male complete the nest. The nest is a cup shape with a canopy of tied together leaves or grasses overhead for camouflage. 3 to 6 eggs are laid.
They're miles away. I'm shooting through this fence as well. Okay, coming closer, coming closer, coming closer. Okay, in actual fact, this whole field is full of them. There's several pairs in here. There's one sitting proud there. Coming closer, coming closer, coming closer. Right over the road. Unreal.
Wow, there's several pairs here. Okay, when I said this was a good site for Zitting testicular, I had no idea. It's rammed. Another one sitting there, flying across. Some on this side. What, three over the road. My word, they're everywhere. Blimey. Yeah, so this whole field is packed with them. And so is this whole field. I don't know, 10 birds or more. I've just flown down here somewhere. So this area here is amazing for Zitting testiculars. I've had them around me for about 20 minutes on these fence lines, both sides, in here, in the field behind. Unreal. Currently two on the on the phone line. Woodchat shrike is a striking and charismatic songbird of open woodlands, farmland and scrubby landscapes across southern Europe, North Africa and parts of the Middle East. Easily recognized by its bold plumage, it has a black mask across their eyes, a chestnut red crown and nape, and contrasting white underparts. Like other shrikes, it's nicknamed the butcherbird for its habit of impaling prey such as large insects, small reptiles and occasionally other small birds on thorns and barbed wire to store for food. In the Balearics, the woodchat shrike is a subspecies of the nominate race and lacks the white patches on the primaries, giving the wings a darker appearance, and the black band across the eyes is narrower. It's a summer visitor to the islands, arriving in spring to breed and departing in late summer for its wintering grounds in sub-Saharan Africa. The Sardinian warbler is common and widespread in the Mediterranean region. It breeds in the southernmost areas of Europe and just into Asia in Turkey and the eastern end of the Mediterranean. This small passerine bird, unlike most warblers, is not particularly migratory, although some birds winter in North Africa and can occur as a vagrant well away from the breeding range. This is a bird of open country and cultivation with bushes for nesting. The nest is built low in shrubs or brambles, and 3 to 6 eggs are laid. Like most warblers, it's insectivorous, but will also take berries and other soft fruit. Got about 15 or so barn swallows over this field here, hunting over this green bit here. 2 spotted flycatchers on the fence, Sardinian warbler over here, Zitting testicular, house sparrows. It's all kicking off. Amazing. Yeah, so there's about 15 or so barn swallows here. Sardinian warbler across. I wonder if I can conjure up a hoopoe, because this is classic hoopoe territory. Spotted flycatcher on the fence line here, on the sort of reed lattice work. This area around Llonga has by far the most European turtle doves I've seen anywhere in the Mediterranean. Of course it's very localized, but it's definitely a little stronghold for them here, with between 60 to 70 birds seen at different spots around the area daily, with a good bunch of this year's young in amongst them. A really encouraging sign. In fact, there seems to be good numbers as a whole on Ibiza. Also here in these farm fields were yet more stone curlew, bringing the number to around 7 or 8, just a short walk from our accommodation. So we are staying on this farmstead for about 8 days. So I will comprehensively cover this area, birding wise. We're staying at the top of a hill, and I've only this morning done a little pie slice out of that, and it's been very productive, so I'm pretty happy. Loads of triptychs. It's getting fairly hot now. Gets hot quickly here. So I'm heading back, it's 9 o'clock, heading back to Corin at the farm, and then we will have some breakfast and decide what we're going to do for the rest of the day. But I think for now I'm very happy. I'll come back here tomorrow morning and every other morning and do different slices of the pie around the hill. And then of course I also want to get hold of those scopsels, because that'll be a full fat lifer for me. So I desperately want to see them. I have seen them in flight briefly through sort of like the lights of the farm last night, but I'd really like to nail down where they're roosting and give them a shot during the day. I think to find them in day roost would be next level. Wood pigeons are a large species in the dove and pigeon family, native to the Western Palearctic. It's got a flexible diet, feeding mainly on plant material, including cereals, which often makes it an agricultural pest, and is hunted extensively across most of its range. In the colder northern and eastern parts of Europe and Western Asia, the common wood pigeon is a migrant, but in southern and western Europe it's an abundant resident. Wood pigeons are known to be fiercely territorial and will fight each other to gain access to nesting and roosting sites. Male wood pigeons typically use threat displays and pursuit to deter competitors, but will also engage in direct confrontation, jumping and striking their rivals with both wings. I've just come back to that stone curlew field, and just on the other side of that low wall is 6 or 7 stone curlews just milling about. Although this bird is classified as a wader, it spends most of its time on dry land rather than wetlands, standing motionless during the day and becoming active at dusk. It can be found in dry grassland, semi-desert areas, and stony agricultural plains and scrub, where it nests on the ground in a small scrape. It feeds mainly on insects, beetles, grasshoppers, and small vertebrates, hunting by sight in low light. Here on the Balearics they are known as torlets. Okay, I'm back out scops owl hunting, and it's either in this tree or this one. Every evening of our stay, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock, the scops owls would come out of roost and would perch up and start calling continuously like this for about an hour, if not longer, right in the gardens of our finca, before eventually stopping and moving off to hunt for the night. But do you think I could find the little blighters? No chance. Stupidly, I never brought a torch with me, so once they flew to another tree, they'd simply disappear again. So frustratingly, I only ever had brief sightings of them as they flew between the trees. Until one night they came out of roost earlier than normal, and I managed to catch them silhouetted against the clear evening sky. But trying to get video and photos was very difficult indeed. While I've been listening to these scops owl calling, I've just had a nightjar through. So, lucky triptych, and that's new for my Ibiza list as well. So scops owls roost in this tree here, so tomorrow morning I will be checking them out there.
currently calling from there. This is our property in here, and the fence line comes just on this side of these graveyard trees through, and these clump of trees are just outside. The nightjar that came through was silent, so I don't know what species it is. I presume it's just common nightjar, Eurasian nightjar, and not red-necked nightjar that you get in Portugal. I've got great sightings of the scopsal, but photography and filming wise I was all over the place. So I'll show you what I've got, but it's going to be messy. Okay, they call in here somewhere. I think they're actually in the grounds of our accommodation, so I'll go and take a look there.
I just happened to catch this bird flying in and perching up, so dared not take my eyes off of it as I got myself ready to photograph it. It was also lovely to hear the two birds duetting each other for the first time at close quarters. I had no tripod and almost no light left in the sky, so I was making my camera equipment work hard for its money just to bring you this footage. But what a stonking little bird this is. I loved every second with it, and what a stroke of luck to have them all to myself right in our own garden. A much wanted addition to my World Palearctic and Spanish lists. A nice little holiday lifer for me.
So I've just walked around. These scops owls roost in here, in this tree here. So the scops owl is up here on the left in the tree, between the two lights there. Or should I say the moon and the lower light in the center frame. So it's in this tree here. Like an idiot, I never brought any lights to illuminate the tree, unfortunately.
Funny enough, until I visited, the owner of the finca, a non-birder, had absolutely no idea what had been making this weird sound in his garden, until I informed him it was the world's cutest owl, to which he was delighted to hear.
So this morning I had a bit more time with the scops owls. I'm getting up at 5, and then I've only got sort of half an hour with them still calling before they go quiet to try and locate where they're going into roost. I've narrowed it down to one particular location, but in that location there's several trees and it's thick bush. So I went in there yesterday and got scratched a bit, so I'm just waiting for the light to come up. I had nice views this morning, but way too dark for photography, so there's no point. And I don't have a flashlight to illuminate them, so it is what it is. So I'm just waiting for the light to come up, and then we'll go Buddha bashing and see if I can get a bit closer to the trees. It's quite thick, but it's still on our property, and our farmstead is the top of that quite wooded section. The owls are to the left here, just below our property, but on our property, which is nice. So, and this morning I've come down off the hill and turned left instead of right like yesterday. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to explore this area and see what I can find. Bit of a change in habitat here with these bigger reeds and things. This is the field I had the stone kurus in yesterday. Oh, and they're right there. They're right there. Okay, I'm gonna just go along a bit here. I'm gonna use this wall as a Okay, I just came around the corner and used this low wall as a blind to look over into the field and got those shots of the stone curlews for you. Sounds like there's a waterworks behind here. Fenced in, unfortunately. Massively tall reeds here. Sun's just come up on another day on Ibiza. I'm just walking the farm tracks again. Sardinian warbler on the floor there. Spotted flycatcher up there. Sean Ferguson down there. Okay, I'm just going to walk a bit further down today.
I found this rather large flock of goldfinch in the same field where I found the Zitting cisticulars, which had cleared out seemingly overnight. Goldfinch are found across the Palearctic, North Africa and Western Asia, and has been introduced into several other countries across the world. Made up of 10 subspecies, their closest relatives are greenfinch, crossbills and redbills. This flock appears to be mostly juveniles, with one red-faced adult bird in center of frame. Their preferred food is small seeds, such as those from thistles, cornflowers and teasels, but insects are also taken when feeding young, and will readily feed on Niger seed at bird feeders.
Okay, just walking further afield around the western part of the hill that we're living on. There's a golf course here, but they're busy mowing the lawns. But there's lots of things making use of the perimeter trees, greenfinch, linnet, great tit, Sardinian warbler, yeah, I think that's about it. Just want to pop my head around this side and then I'll turn around and head back.
As I've said before, Llonga is a stronghold for all of Ibiza's dove and pigeon species, bar the rarest stock dove, which I've never seen in the Balearics. I guess because of the surrounding agricultural homesteads, there's lots for them to feed on and also good breeding habitat around here. But by far the most common dove here were turtle doves, which I enjoyed watching every morning on my walks around. Back at the finca, there was lots to keep me occupied while my wife lazed around the pool. The garden was large and had the most amazing insects and spiders in it, much to my wife's dismay. She's definitely not a fan of the latter. Most notable were various wasp and orb weaver spiders, the exact species of which I'm afraid I don't know, and to the credit of the owner, were left in peace. Just walking back from our local beach, Cala, and we are next to the Depredora, the little water treatment plant here, and I just noticed a small flock of firecrest up in here, so I've just been photographing them. Karen's carried on walking home, which is literally just around the corner, and so I just spent a bit of time photographing them here. They've been all along here, quite close, point blank views, and then back, and now they're back up in this pine tree. Firecrests hold the title of Europe's second smallest bird after the goldcrest and weighs just 5 to 7 grams. It breeds in most of temperate Europe and northwestern Africa and is partially migratory, with birds from Central Europe wintering to the south and west of their breeding range. Firecrest in the Balearic Islands and North Africa are widely recognized as a separate subspecies, but the population on Madeira is now treated as a distinct species, the Madeiran firecrest. They're almost exclusively insectivorous, preying on small arthropods with soft bodies, such as springtails, aphids, and spiders. They also feed on the eggs of spiders and insects, and occasionally take pollen. Firecrest breed in broad-leafed or carnivorous woodland and gardens, building its compact three-layered nest on a tree branch. 7 to 12 eggs are incubated by the female alone. Both parents feed the chicks, which fledge at around 23 days after hatching. This bird is constantly on the move and frequently hovers as it searches for insects to eat, and in winter is often found in flocks of tits. Just like goldcrest, firecrest never sits still. You're barely able to get photographs of them, so video is just about out of the question. So I've just been taking photographs. I haven't even bothered with video. There's just no point. They're just always on the move. Got a spotted flycatcher as well, and turtle doves flying through. I must say, every time I go out walking on the farmlands around our farmstead, I have 60 to 70 to 80 turtle doves every morning. It's lovely. So I've just come out the back of the farmstead or farmhouse just to look for a place to sit in the shade, and I walk down this little walkway here to a little pond that's here, and would you believe it, I flushed a green sandpiper off this little pond. It was in the corner there, and when I stood here it flew off. Can you believe it? This tiny little thing. Of course, along with amazing insect life in the garden, we also had several pairs of spotted flycatchers, of which one pair hung around the pool area and were incredibly tame, allowing point-blank views, which of course entertained me no end. Mediterranean or spotted flycatchers in the Balearics are currently considered a subspecies, but will soon be lumped into one species with the dominant race. The birds on the islands tend to have paler upper parts, often with more whitish or clean streaks on the crown, less heavy streaking on the breasts, and underwing coverts that tend to be cleaner white. During migration, birds of both the nominant and the island forms can pass through. Towards the end of our stay, Corin had the brilliant idea to ask the owner for a torch. I mean, to be honest, I really should have thought of doing that days ago, shouldn't I? And of course he had one and gladly handed it over, because he too was interested in seeing what had been making those weird noises in his garden for the last couple of months. But this of course brings up another ethical dilemma, whether to actually use the torch or not. Firstly, I'll tell you I'm not a fan of lamping a nocturnal species at night, potentially temporarily blinding the bird in the process. I've been on several safari night drives in Africa where professional guides use powerful torches to light up birds, but do so by aiming well below the bird, bathing the bird in secondary light and not direct light. So I thought I'd give this a try. Secondly, I thought these birds were on private property, so wouldn't have a continual stream of birders trying to lamp them indiscriminately. And so with this in mind, Corin and I headed out one last time. I instructed Corin to aim the torch well below the birds, freeing me up to get very shaky film and photos for you, making some very interesting discoveries in the process which I would have never been able to do without the light. That being, we actually had a family of 4 owls in the garden, with 2 juveniles chasing their adults around begging for food. Knowing that now, all those days and nights before, failing to find 4 birds instead of just the 2 I thought were there, kind of put a dent in my birding street cred, because I never did find them in their day roosts, sadly.
There's a third one. There's definitely a third one. Yeah.
Eurasian Scops owl breed in southern Europe eastwards into western and central Asia. It's migratory, wintering in southernmost Europe and sub-Saharan Africa. It's a tiny owl of just 19 to 21 centimeters in length and perches upright and shows small ear tufts. The plumage is predominantly grey-brown in color, with a paler face, underparts and shoulder line, making it incredibly camouflaged and hard to find, as experienced by yours truly this holiday. This species has a strong direct flight on long narrow wings, reflecting its migratory habits. The call is a deep whistle given by both sexes. They breed in open woodland, parks and gardens. The nest is usually a hole in a tree or in a wall, but sometimes can be an old nest of another species, such as a crow. 4 to 5 eggs are laid and incubated by the female alone. The young are cared for and fed by both adults. With the help of the torch, I now also realized the birds weren't calling from the nearby trees in the early evenings as they came out of roost, but were in fact calling from the very tops of these tall palms in the garden. I had no clue because the sound of the calls were bouncing off the walls of the house, masking their exact location. This bird sat up here for over an hour, constantly calling, giving fantastic views. In the week we stayed at the finca, we of course also explored further afield from there, using it as our base, spending a lot of time visiting the beaches in the west and northwest of the island, where you have less crowds and more of a relaxed feel. Even though the drives are a little longer, this just gives you more opportunity to bump into more wildlife, like we just did outside Santa Eulalia des Rio on the PM 810, when I happened to look out of my car window and see 4 Eleonora's falcons hunting just off the highway. Luckily for me, there was a turnoff and shaded parking right underneath them, which I barreled into and jumped out the car with camera in hand, almost firing away as my feet touched the ground.
So we have pulled over on the side of the road on the way to the beach. Karen's busy reading a book in the shade there. And the reason is because I saw a party of Eleonora's falcons. Not one, not two, not three, but 4. And there's one just going around the pine trees here. I've got the most amazing photographs. Gave me goosebumps, that was so good. Yeah, so they've just been circling these pine trees here and dipping down and catching, there it is there. Or one of them, one of the 4. And another one higher up, so that's 2.
When I tried shooting video with my old SLR, I quickly realized it was a bad idea. The thing's so heavy and I have to hold it at arm's length to see the back screen. My arms were screaming after just a few seconds, so I gave up on video pretty quickly and switched back to stills before I missed the action. Eleonora's falcons are truly epic birds of the Balearics, with an almost mythical status among birders. I've seen them plenty of times around the Mediterranean, but never this close and never so many together at one time. To say I was excited would have been the understatement of the century. Their English and species name, Eleonorae, comes from Eleanor of Arborea, a Sardinian ruler from the 1300s who became the first ruler in history to grant protection to hawk and falcon nests against illegal hunters. They're a medium-sized falcon that occurs in 2 color morphs. The dark morph is basically sooty brown all over, with black underwing coverts, while the light morph looks a bit like a young Eurasian hobby, buff-colored underneath, with the same contrast between the black underwing coverts and paler flight feathers.
They were circling over here a few times and then went distant and then came back again. And then one actually plummeted out the sky, almost below that wire, and then caught something, flew towards me, and then banked up like this. And I got the most amazing photograph, which I'll show you now. My eyes nearly popped out of my head. This is so good. Unfortunately, all 4 birds are now circling quite distantly, which I don't think this camera will pick up, unfortunately. But those are by far my best ever views of Eleonora's falcons anywhere in the world. And I think you couldn't replicate that even if you tried. Just luck of the draw that I could pull over quickly and find a nice parking bay. I had my camera ready, just fell out the car and started firing.
Only my 3rd kestrel of the entire holiday was also spotted in amongst the falcons, enjoying the feast of insects. This one managing to catch a sizable cicada, but it didn't hang around long and flew off to enjoy its snack. And then unbelievably, on the same day and same road, just a few kilometers further on, another family party of 4 Eleonora's falcons, but this time the family contained a spectacular dark morphed individual. I again careered off the road onto a dirt slip road, scaring the wits out of my wife in the process, almost firing my camera from the hip as I fell out the car.
Don't know how I'm going to get out of that parking. But we've got 4 Eleonora's falcons flying around us again. Just through the gap there. There's one up high again. Through the gap. Oh, so good. Another one up high. And low again is, there's about 4 birds here again. One up high, one here, one here. 4 birds. So I got 3 in the view, left, up top and in the middle. Got 2 birds out here and one here somewhere. Oh, there we go. They seem to be hunting in this, They seem to be hunting in this wooded valley here. I'll have to try and figure out all these pin locations for you, because I don't know where we are. So funny enough, the last place had 4 birds and now 4 birds again. Just distant here again. Coming towards me. Come on, come on, come on. Another one. Another one.
Eleonora's falcons breed mostly on the Mediterranean islands, especially off Greece, which holds around 2/3 of the world's population, but also in places like Cyprus, the Canary Islands, the Balearics, and off the coasts of Spain, Italy, Croatia, Morocco, and Algeria. According to research, the Greek island of Tilos actually hosts around 10% of the world's Eleonora's falcons, about 650 breeding pairs. These birds are long-distance migrants, spending the winter in Madagascar. Satellite tracking has shown they don't take the short coastal route down the eastern side of Africa, preferring a much longer path westwards across the Sahara and down through Central Africa before making it to Kenya and finally Madagascar. Their diet's mostly big insects like dragonflies, which they'll catch and eat on the wing, but they'll also hunt small birds in flight and even the occasional bat. But what's cool about these birds is that they have a delayed breeding season in late summer, because it's a specialist hunter of migrating birds which pass through the Mediterranean islands at that time of year, securing a valuable resource for their growing chicks. They're also one of the few falcons that breed in colonies, nesting in coastal cliffs and laying up to 4 eggs at a time. Thanks for joining me on my Ibiza birding adventure. If you've enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to see more.